you are producing and you want to make infinite loops. That's today's video. Let's do it right here, right now. Hello, you on the other side of the screen. Well, thank you for checking out this video. My name is Analog Kitchen. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. Whenever I upload a new video, you'll be the first to be notified if you click the bell icon as well. You know I'm showing off, right? You know I'm showing off if you see me sitting there with a 606 and a 909 on the desk like it's nothing. Well, sometimes, you know, that's how it just goes. Shut up! Something else I would like to say what's up to Andrew Otwell. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon, where you can get some perks that I'm actually talking about in the videos if you want to get your hands on a few of the samples that I'm actually using, and you can support me over there. I'd like to say what's up to Omri Cohen. He said like, I find it interesting that you choose to leave the sound static, frequency-wise. It does sound very clean and everything sits nicely together. How come you have the 303 going together with the Model D and the bass drum and they all sound so clean without getting in the way of one another? Is this coming from leaving the filter where it is most of the time? Omri, yes and no. When I decide what sounds I use for my live set, the thing that I found that when I started to equalize things back in the days, my sound changed from venue to venue. And it will always change from venue to venue because different rooms make for different approaches, different sound guys make for different flavors. So for me to have a steady sort of like plan where to start from is mandatory. Getting the sounds to be rich in transients is one of the key secrets in order for me to work it so that I don't have to EQ stuff. Finding the sweet spots of the filters as well, because every different piece of equipment's got its own sweet spot where the filter just really neatly sits, and it takes a bit of a practice to find out what it is. For instance, I've got this bass drum, and this bass drum's got its fundamental around the 100 Hertz mark, I should say. I will look for sounds that have very, very nice harmonics, so that the harmonics are also predominantly noticeable. So around 200 Hertz, obviously there is a harmonic. Around 300 Hertz, there's a harmonic. Around 150, there's a harmonic. Around 250, there's a harmonic. I'm not actually looking at a graphic equalizer to pinpoint it. I just trained my ears to pick up on what happens if I stick that Model D on the bass drum. How much do I hear? So instead of looking at the problem, oh, it's canceling out something, I'm trying to look at what is left. And can I structure stuff level-wise that it's not so noticeable that things are actually clashing with frequencies? Or can I actually just mold it all together so that it will work? If you're cooking in the kitchen, the best recipes are the ones where you don't really taste that the spices are there, but the whole recipe is like amazing. Another analogy, another bad example, picture a big desert. There are boulders left and right. The more they are spaced apart, the less you're going to think like, okay, they work together. But if one is laying over here and one is slightly behind it but just moved out of the way, you'll see them both, but you'll understand that a part of it is actually overlapping. Now that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make these crossover points within the sounds that I'm structuring, and I'm building it from the ground up. So the more low frequency I'm using, the bigger those crossover points are actually. So you need to watch out for that. Christian Vossen said, another great video. Thanks for checking it out. Thank you, Lucien. Maybe you can do a similar video about different techno, drum and percussion grooves. And when I thought on that, I thought like, yeah, that might be a good thing to do. But at the same time, a lot of people were asking me about groove as well. Like, how do you keep your groove interesting? How can you keep patterns moving forward without them sounding too boring? And I started to think, that's not only a thing that's done via frequencies. There's a few things that come into play if you want to make a pleasing pattern or a pleasing sequence. In order for something to be hypnotic, the pace doesn't need to be too fast. Now, if any healthy person's got a heartbeat of say around 60, that means that if you double it up, that's 120, 130 BPM, which be a brisk walk. You know, you're moving, you're not getting too tired, and it feels cool. And when it goes to 140, the faster it is, the more you're going to just like drain energy from your listener, which means there's a slight chance they might get bored easier. So I tend to keep my BPM relatively relatively slow between 122 and 130 at the highest, depending on where I play and perform. And having said that though, the slower the BPM is, the more space you have to place different elements in such a way that if you think on what you're going to place where, the expectation of things is pleasing, because we as human beings are very, very keen to pick up on structure. Let's head over to the live set and let me actually show you how I make an infinite loop by means of filter, placement, and the way I work my sounds. Alright gang, so okay, apart from the kick, I don't have anything played already, because I wanted to do it in the most honest sense that I can think of. Which is starting from scratch, well, barely from scratch. Obviously the sounds I already have selected, because if you have to wait for me selecting sounds, this video is going to just last us forever, and I don't think that that is what we need to do. So what I have now is this. Just a simple kick, yeah, no drums. And what I'm going to do is I will see if I can make a pattern on the TB03. Let's clear one. Let's clear one. This is nice, but we want to just clear it, yeah? That means it's done, yeah? Okay, let's see, what have we got? Okay, I'll go into pitch mode. Stick this on 8. Maybe a polyrhythm would be a bit better for my groove. As you can hear, it's shuffling a lot, because on the multi-clock the shuffle is almost on 12 o'clock. Now it's a bit more sparse. You'll hear it with the bass drum. Now this also helps to create a infinite loop, because with polyrhythms, if you're not good at divisions, most of us are mainly on the dance floor to dance, you're not really paying attention to when the beat is starting, which is on a 12 obviously. So the 3 in a 4x4 beat obviously will re-loop itself on bar 12, which is not important, but still. I've got my polyrhythm going, and as you know by now, I will look for a sweet spot. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on a sawtooth wave. Yeah, put it on a saw wave. Let's turn everything down, yeah? Extend down everything down. So the cutoff frequency, let's see what we can do. Yeah, you can really hear that it's a digital machine, but let's turn it down a little bit. Resonance up. This is what I mean with psychoacoustics. Now it starts to shift, like here. You can hear that it's in key. All the notes are in key. And when the resonance goes up, it starts to sound like it's out of tune. And that's exactly what I need with this. Envelope modulation, so I'll get a little bit more of a percussive sound out of it. You can hear it. So resonance down, envelope modulation 1 o'clock, resonance 10 o'clock, cutoff frequency 11 o'clock. Decay to make the notes longer, I don't want it. Okay, yeah, so let's live with this right now for a while. Let's play my hats. Record the hats. Now it's very important when you select your sounds to make sounds that, to get sounds that will actually, they don't need a lot of work, because it takes the fun of how to make music, and It's better if you just have a sound that works, don't overthink it. I think this will work, yeah? Now, another trick that I do when I'm playing a clap, for instance, this is a straight clap, yeah? But what I want for my loop to be hypnotic is the clap to play on a different timing. So instead of the 2 and 4, I'll play it here. And for this to even be better, I'll go into the Edit Samples page and I'll shorten a note. You hear that? Now, in terms of mixing or leveling, I'll put it halfway because I don't want this too loud. So, the hierarchy, the priority is kick, bass, hat. Those are my fundamentals in this sound, and then that clap is only there just for ear candy, as you hear me say. So it's only there. But can I play something to accompany this clap so that my loop will become a little bit more hypnotic even? Let's see what we have. Go over here. Turn everything on because I don't. Let me keep it simple. Overdub. Let's record it. Very subtle, but there's a close hat on the kick. All right. You hear that everything is directing you in a certain direction. Let's just hide this bass line a little further away in the background, yeah? A little less resonance. Envelope modulation. So I'll tend to go in a little bit aggressively with this and tone it down a bit. Okay. Now for another element. Let's see what we have here, because I think I've got something playing on my octa track as well. Yeah, nice. No. Okay, so now I have taken out that sound, yeah? That sound is playing on track number 1. The octa track, obviously 8 tracks that I use, audio tracks. The first 5 are actually dedicated to audio. 6, 7, and 8 are dedicated as true machines for the Tetra, for the Model D, and for the Mini Tower. But on track 1, I've got this sound playing. Let's play it with my chromatic. A bit of an air horn. There's a filter on it. And reverb. Stick it on the place where the clap is playing, yeah? A little bit later. Here we go. 2, 3, and. Here we go. I've actually mapped the crossfader to the reverb, so when I open this up, the reverb will linger on, as you can hear. So I'm taking out the kick, opening up my filter. You see? At this moment, you are listening to the same thing for a long time already. So that's what I mean. Keep things hypnotic, yeah? Let's see if we can put more drums in here, maybe. I like the right cymbal, but it's a bit too loud. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm liking it. Now, I'm starting to hide stuff away. Yeah, go back to this sound. Filter it down a little bit more. Because I need stuff to gel together. So this and this. Yeah, so the bass line and the Octatrack, TB-03 and the Octatrack are gonna play together. Now, let's see if we can play something magical with my friend over here. Maybe a bit deeper. Do a bit of sound design on the sound. Let me turn the sound off. I will do a bit of sound design here. I need white noise. Yeah. And this can be a little softer. Yeah, okay, there you go. So, got a sawtooth here, got a square wave here on the middle one. What do you want to do with it? Yeah, nice. Let's rock it out. Let me tune this one because I think that this sounds a little bit out of tune. Where are you? Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna filter this down more because it's still too predominant. Second sound. There's another sound that I have on track 2 that I will take out. Bit of an old school stabby thing going on. Not convinced, not convinced, not convinced. Let's see. Okay, what else? What else? Oh my god, still not there. Alright, let's see if we can put a little bit of reverb on there. Double click, what's this? Reverb, there you go. Yes. It starts to sound like something already. Turn this off. It's a bit of that old school Detroit vibe. Yeah, I'm liking it. What else can we come up with? More bass, of course. Let's see if we play something with my friend over here, Minotaur. Maybe. Wait a minute. You hear how different things are starting to play together now already? Take the kick out. Now can we play something with... See what we can play. I will play something like... Let's see if I... got the Boss RE20, which is the Space Echo reissue. I'll open up the intensity. So do you hear how many different ingredients are actually getting into the loop here? Not too sure about the Model D, but you understand what I mean. You can play whatever. So I got sounds here. One thing I'm going to take out is that right. Well, let's do my hand in. Now if you want to make a breakdown, you'll take out those two. You hear like it's almost one sound. Especially if I'm going to put the timing correctly. There you go. I need to just get the timing right. So there's a bit of sound layering going on right here. If you want to hear your bass line a bit more, don't make this too bassy, take out the sub oscillator. You can hear it clearly. If you open the filter, you hear it better. Take out some noise. Tune it better. Shorten the notes. Alright. Turn this down. Turn this down. Turn this down. And those two. And play. Infinite loop, instantly. And it gives you more room to contemplate your next move. Heads, 2, 3, and. And I hope you're listening to this on a bit of a good system, but you can imagine if you play this stuff on a loud sound system, people are going to love you for it, you know what I mean? Now the right symbol that I have right here, I think that I was smart enough to map out the length and the pitch. See what I have. Ah, nice. So you get more of a groove. Tap, 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 tap. Hi-hat. All these small increments of stuff just hypnotize your crowd. Open this up. Let's open up the delay here. And there's delay on this as well. Not to like here, you know what I mean? Anyway, a lot of stuff that you can actually do. So what is important if you make an infinite loop? The easy way is to go with a polyrhythm, something that doesn't really start and stop on the 1, 2, 3, 4, but would just like move as a chameleon within that 4-beat loop. And another thing is also to think on the upbeat. So if the beat is playing this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and get something before the end of the loop to play so that every time when something is playing, which I think I've got it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and you know, then you get the sensation that your loop is never ending because it is pleasing for especially dancing people to just get lost in the groove. I mean, this was an eye-opener for me, I have to say. When I started, it's an eye-opener because I don't know about you, but when I start to produce, I get carried away sometimes, so I keep adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff, and sometimes I can just overshoot my mark and go a little bit too far. There is a video on knowing when your track is actually finished that I'm gonna link up somewhere here. And there's another video coming up about how this whole live set works, and that one's coming over here right now.